I got my sign, and I have no problems putting this information out there. I think this is a real story. That's my opinion. Okay, the person that's working on this is doing it, and she's been doing it, and they've been doing this for a long time. They've been auditing elections for countries and finding fraud for decades. And if you want to go to the website is nationsinaction.org. Okay. And I'm not any way affiliated with her or that website in any way. Um, but basically, what they have on there is they have the story, they have the affidavit from the main prosecutor in Italy, because this man is admitted to his actions. He's under arrest. They have him in custody. He signed an affidavit exactly what he did, how he did it, who he did it with, not by name, but by organization and handlers.
I read that.
And yeah, and there's certain congressmen and women who have this affidavit after the vote, and the president has it according to the person breaking the story.
Okay.
The president has had it since Christmas Eve, apparently. But the problem is there's been so much garbage that's come through with these hypothetical irregularities, and this might be it and that might be it, that this story is being whitewashed as more propaganda. It's not getting traction. Nobody wants to really lead with this story. And I don't blame them, because a lot of people are all like electioned out, right?
Yeah, people are tired and they're worn out.
But this is why we're being censored, potentially. They are running scared. Why would you want to impeach a president with 12 days left?
Exactly. What would be the point if he's only got 12 days? Why are they going to try to impeach him?
Because of what he has.
Let me read this.
Knows.
Let me read. I want to read this and get your reaction to it. This memorandum on providing an order of succession within the United States International Development Finance Corporation, because I think it has to do with what we're talking about right now. Okay, so it says memorandum for the Chief Executive Officer of the United States International Development Finance Corporation. Subject: providing an order of succession within the United States International Development Finance Corporation by the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the Federal Vaccines Reform Act of 1998, as amended 5 U.S. Code 3345. The act, I hereby direct the following. Section 1, order of succession. Subject to the provisions of Section 2 of this memorandum and the limitations set forth in the act, the following officers of the United States International Development Finance Corporation, which is what you were talking about earlier, the Corporation of America.
Correct.
Okay. In the order listed, shall act as and perform the functions and duties of the office of the Chief Executive Officer of the DFC during any period in which the Chief Executive Officer of the DFC has died, resigned, or otherwise become unable to perform functions and duties of the office of the Chief Executive Officer of the DFC. And so A, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, B, Chief Operating Officer, C, Executive Vice President for Strategy, D, Chief of Staff, E, Vice President and General Counsel, F, Deputy General Counsel, G, Vice President, Structured Finance and Insurance, H, Vice President, Development Credit, and I, Chief Financial Officer and Vice President, Finance. So section 2, exceptions. A, no individual who is serving in an office listed in section 1 of this memorandum in any acting capacity shall, by virtue of serving, act as chief executive officer of DFC pursuant to this memorandum. B, no individual who is serving in an office listed in section 1 of this memorandum shall act as chief executive officer of DFC unless that individual is otherwise eligible to serve under the act. C, notwithstanding the provisions of this memorandum, the president retains direction to the extent permitted by law to depart from the memorandum in designating an acting chief executive officer of DFC. This is, okay, I'm just about through it. Section 3, general provisions. Nothing in this memorandum shall be continued to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or the functions of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. This memorandum shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. This memorandum is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. You are authorized and directed to publish this memorandum in Federal Register. Donald J. Trump. That was a lot.
That's a lot of lawyer stuff.
Huh?
A lot of lawyer stuff.
Yeah. The part that kind of got me was it said something about if where'd it go? Federal Vaccines Reform Act of 1998. That stuck out. And it says something about
the chief financial officer.
Yeah, and of the DFC, the Development Financial Corporation.
Yep. And he just named the trustees. All those people are trustees
of the United States of America.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, and what is this part? Period in which the chief executive officer of the DFC has died, resigned, or otherwise become unable to perform the functions and duties of the office of the chief executive officer.
So that's like a succession. It's like a succession order, potentially. But we're dealing with a kumatada here, buddy.
What do you mean?
I don't know if I can say that C word. And it's not the bad one.
Huh?
First one.
Maybe I'll just put this on BitChute and we don't have to worry about it. Go ahead and say it.
The information that I've shared on this in this conversation is the proof that we're in a controlled, premeditated coup.
Oh yeah.
Of this country, orchestrated by foreign countries, foreign intelligence agencies, and when I say foreign, don't think that some of the alphabet intelligence agencies are part of the United States corporation, because they're not.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have gathered that conclusion a while ago, but this is still news to, a lot of people.
They're all registered in the Virginia, old school money. We're talking about kings and queen money here. You know what I mean? Yeah. The
Virginia, because when we were talking
Virginia
about
Company.
what's that?
It's the Virginia Company.
Oh, okay. This is something that you explained to me a long time ago, year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. Explain to me again the Virginia Company.
The Virginia Company is what originally funded the 13 colonies. Well, let me back up. Not all 13 colonies. I believe it was 4 or 5 in the beginning. And basically, the Virginia Company created bonds back in England for the public to buy. And it was an investment in this company that was exploring the New World. And then they had people pay to come over here and make the settlements, and they were to provide the basic necessities, building, water, infrastructure, the maybe some form of government of some sort, to help the colonies thrive. And the problem with that is they ran out of money, and the colonies didn't do so well, and so they had to reorganize that, which ended up turning into the United States of America. So the Virginia Company is really the original creator of the United States of America, which is funded by bonds from England. And so that's where you get the intertanglement with the king and this country, because that's the premise of how it all started, with bonds issued, the Virginia Company, and the register of that original corporation. And we went from there's the United States of America, which consists of the 13 colonies. That corporation it does not exist. The Constitution that says United States of America is the organic Constitution, which means that Constitution is for that corporation and for the wetware under which they were in control over at the time. Then we have the corporate Constitution, which was brought in by the United States Corporation, which encompasses the property of the District of Columbia, and it was only supposed to be like a 10-mile radius or 15-mile radius, and that is the territory, and that corporation only owns that property, and that's it. Their jurisdiction only goes that far, supposedly. They've way overwritten their jurisdiction over the years to incorporate, lands that they don't have the jurisdiction to have over its citizens, but they're smart.
They've taken it, and that's maritime law, basically, right?
Well, so yes, it is. It's maritime law, and it goes back to, Pirates of the Caribbean. And if you have an abandoned ship and you take ownership of that ship, it is your property. You have commandeered that ship. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when they say, ownership is 9/10 of the law in maritime law, they're correct. If I take it, it's mine. Okay. Mm-hmm. If a judge ever vacates the chambers without going into recess, you can take over that court and dismiss any cases, all cases, and do whatever you want. You can commandeer that ship because the captain has abandoned ship. So you have to go back to maritime shipping. What do you have? You have a bill of lading. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have a dock. right? You have to present your papers, a bill of lading, when you deliver your package or your goods. Okay, so the creative way that the corporation takes ownership of you is they see the vaginal canal. There's another water term
of shipping water type
Yeah,
terminology.
your water broke and you came through a birthing canal,
Yep.
and when you got delivered, when you
Mhm.
got delivered,
Mhm.
right? You were given a birth certificate,
Yep.
and that birth certificate is your bill of lading when you were delivered to the dock,
Yep.
by the dock,
Yep.
or
As cargo.
cargo, property, right?
Mhm.
So then in the United States, you are required to establish a social security number
Mhm.
no later than 2 weeks after birth, right? That is your number. That is your product number. And that's where the account comes from. And
And
that's how that works.
and,
And that's
and
how they borrow money.
are we in the battle right now to get away from that?
We are. We're in the battle to be free, truly free.
To not be considered cargo anymore, to not live under maritime law, but true constitutional law.
That is correct. And if you looked at the last press conference that President Trump gave, there was two, I don't know what they're called, but two strings coming down,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a yellow fringe
No fringe
around
rim.
that flag.
Yep.
And that is a maritime flag,
Yep.
and that is a flag without country.
Yep.
And so we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happens next,
Me either.
but I can guarantee you this: President Trump is not going to get impeached. Mr. Biden is not going to become president.
Agreed.
And I don't think that Congress committed treason by certifying the votes, because they worked with the information given to them at that time. Now, what that process looks like afterwards, I don't know. But I don't think that you can put somebody in office when you know, if this is true, which I, in my heart, say it is. You can't put him in and say, oh, well, we're going to have to figure that out next time. You can't go back. There's no going back from where we're at.
Can't put
Everything is led to the next 10 days. That's it. 10 days. And when we put this out, I don't know if we're going to go to full blackout, if we're going to go to full censorship, if the whole thing's going to go down. But I'm sure if you talk to the people at Parler, they'd tell you it's gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, Tucker did an interview with her last night, the CEO, or some president, vice president, whatever. She said that it's against their contractual agreements with both Google and Apple, because there's supposed to be an agreed upon conference of specific content. There was no conversation about specific content that's against any contractual agreements.
Mm-hmm.
They just did it, and I think that it's because a certain our president went on Parler. That was the only thing he had left.
Wait, did he start an account Parler? I think that was. because I've been trying to check that, and I don't know if he actually went on Parler. That I think it was a fake account, but he did go to Gab. Gab, Andrea, what he did?
Who did?
Trump?
No, he's not on anything yet.
He's not on anything.
No.
I saw his account on Gab.
There's so many fake accounts on it.
Okay, so we don't know where he went or if he went anywhere yet.
Well, I was told that he went on to Parler, and that was the reason why they did what they did yesterday.
To try to keep him completely censored.
To continue to box him into a corner.
Yeah. So, and I think this is what actually Q referred to as the 10 days of darkness. I think we're in day 2 or 3 of 10 days of darkness, and I think that was referring to the complete censorship of the president.
Yeah.
Right. And I know the last, 2 days before he was taken off of Twitter and Facebook and everything, that we had 2 emergency alert. I think they were tests. There were Amber Alerts here in Arizona. One Amber Alert one day, and then the next day there was another Amber Alert. We hardly ever get those.
Well, they came out. The FCC came out with a national letter.
Yep, saw that.
Instructing all of the providers to do a complete compliance check, and to ensure that they're living up to their obligations, and that when an order is given, they must comply.
Yeah. So they're being tested right now. If they don't comply, they're probably going to prove that they're complicit in this coup, and that they'll be taken down, restructured. Part of it.
We're looking at tribunals in this country.
That's the only way. Mass arrests and military tribunals, and basically Nuremberg 2.0. That's the only.
Well, you can't demand people take a vaccine either.
No, they're trying to.
And that's what came out of the last Nuremberg trials, when they inoculated all those people and did not give them an option. That's what came out of that. One of the many things, but I use the word they a lot.
Well, I don't know who they are. They're people with no names and no faces and operating in disguise, and
yes,
without our approval or our vote.
Right. It's compartmentalized, like a few compartments above me. I don't need to know that. I'm not going to stress over it. I just need a conceptual, bigger picture.
It's one of the things I talk about the most: compartmentalization. It's how bigger operations get carried out without the knowledge of all the people. They're told a small part of what they're doing. They don't know the bigger picture, and we don't even need to go into that a lot. I talk about so much, well, here, just for the people that are like, what are you talking about? Compartmentalization is how the B-1 bomber or the stealth F-17 or F-117, whatever the hell they call it, is created without the people working on it knowing what they're working on. They know that they're working on the fly-by-wire system, or they know that they're working on the motors, or they know that they're working on this certain part, but they don't know what the jet is that they're working on until it's rolled out and it's let out to the people. So that's
they could be working on the wing or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's compartmentalization.
And no company gets the complete contract. So, what do you think, Mike? I mean, I don't mean to be doing a lot of the talking, but I mean, you've kind of been little shell shocked with some the information that I brought today. I mean, you've had a chance to read some of it. It sounds like. What's your take on this?
Oh, geez, on where we're at right now and where we're going and what's going to happen.
Well, you're talking about a football in play. It's still in play, but you haven't got it into the end zone yet.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm not even sure if it's in the red zone. If you want to do a football analogy,
Yeah, we're in the fourth quarter right now for sure, and I've thought we were in the fourth quarter before. I thought, okay, we're getting close. This is the end of it. So we're basically at a precipice. Is that the right word? We're
Yeah.
at a pinnacle right now, and either freedom is gained. I don't want to say regained because it was taken away a long time ago. Just like we were talking about, we've been under maritime law for a long time, and we're cargo. We're owned. We've been under the. Uh, we've been told that we're free and that we have.
We've been under corporate law for a long time.
Yeah, like 150 years.
Go back to common law.
Yeah, so we're either going to make it through that. There will be mass arrests and military tribunals, and then we will go back to constitutional law, the executive order that seizes assets from the people that have been involved in keeping us in slavery for 150 years. We'll have those assets removed, and it'll be redistributed back to us, and then we'll have some capital to start over again. We'll live under constitutional law and know what it's truly like to be free people. Or if that doesn't happen, we could start learning Chinese. I don't know.
If the football does not get in the end zone, we are going to be having 5G cameras everywhere, facial recognition. Okay, for everyone that's not working, you're going to have a social score, and if you don't do what you're supposed to, it's going to affect your social score. And if you don't have a good social score, you're not going to get credit. You're not going to get loans. You're not going to have shit.
We're already there in some aspects of that, because there already is all of that. The technology that's being used is ridiculous. And what I've experienced personally, and I've talked about how I've been somehow subjected to the beta test for the rest of everybody else. The control that they have currently is you would literally have to experience it firsthand to understand how much control they currently have. And those type of systems that they have in place already that they're using on certain targeted individuals. I'm talking about artificial intelligence connected to neural networks, connected to system. I mean, they can literally control the stoplights to slow you down going through town. And I'm telling you this because it happens with me. And I don't give a shit if somebody goes, oh, what makes you so, their typical answer when they want to gaslight me is, what makes you so important? Why would they go that far? You know, it's not about me. I'm a test subject. There's a lot of other people that this technology is being used on to completely control and manipulate their lives. And it's because it's a beta test for the rest of everyone else. And exactly what you just described, the facial recognition, the social credit scores and all that stuff, they're already doing that here in the United States, but to a small percentage of the people, because if they did it to everyone at the same time, people would rise up and fight back and just take things over. So if they do it to 5% of the population, then it's only affecting that small part of the population. If they can gaslight them enough and discredit them enough, then people that are perfectly happy and they still feel like they have freedom, it's not affecting them. So they're just going to be like, well, I don't know if I want to. It's like letting a homeless person into your car and bringing them to your house to have dinner and have a shower and all that stuff. It's like that could cause problems. That person could end up trying to rob you, or they might actually be crazy. And that's how a lot of the people in Maine society that hear what I'm talking about, what other targeted individuals have talked about, they're like, well, that could really throw a wrench in my nice comfy life, and I don't really want to go there. When in all actuality, if they really wanted to secure their future, they would be really listening to what I'm saying. I'm not just doing this for my own benefit, because I want to be on the internet. It's ridiculous the blowback that I get from doing this. But they're using me and a bunch of other people that call themselves targeted individuals as the beta test for exactly what you just said. And it has to stop, because otherwise the people they'll no longer be, or no longer have the hope to become a sovereign citizen again. They'll be completely controlled and manipulated through AI, neural technology. It's like something out of a science fiction movie.
It's Orwellian, is what it is.
100% Orwellian, 1984, George Orwell.
Yep.
I've shared videos on TikTok, which I got shadow banned from. I had an opportunity to make enough money on TikTok, got 10 million views in a month, and I was going to be able to pay my bills, and boom, they arbitrarily deleted a bunch of my videos that I had proof, patent numbers, vetted from professionals, stuff like that. That's how I do my videos. I make sure that I'm back up what I'm saying. Those videos are deleted, and I'm being censored. But there's a reason for that, and I went off on a tangent. But yeah, exactly what you're saying is correct. We're at the point where it's either going to be complete takeover and control of all citizens, or we get our money back. We live under constitutional law and learn what it is for the first time to be truly free citizens.
Correct. And I have never put myself out there like I am right now. And I had to come to a certain point in my research that led me to be very depressed and sad and dejected and felt like I had been lied to my whole life, and everything isn't what it's supposed to be, and A isn't 3 straight lines, it's really 3 circles. And I was mortified, and what I chose to do was to try to red pill some people with the information that I had, thinking that if I talked about it and I got confirmation, or if I got buy-in from other people, it was going to help me feel better. And it did the exact opposite for me. I had people telling me that I wore a tinfoil hat, I was a conspiracy theorist, that I didn't know what I was talking about, and I was dejected. People didn't look at me the same. I lost some friends, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And that's when I realized that to be a watcher, to know the truth is not an easy thing.
Nope.
It requires a lot of responsibility, and it requires a lot of internal strength, because where I came out of that dark place was this. It's not about knowing the truth, Mike. It's about what you do with it.
Yep. Speaking it.
And you can't red pill people. Like, I heard a guy eloquently explain it really good. It's like, if you have an indoctrinated person that has been socially constructed for the past 30 years,
mm-hmm.
You're going to try to explain to him why JFK had the demise that he had. They're going to be like completely overwhelmed by information, and they're going to go into complete shutdown.
Yeah.
They're not going to know how to respond. They're not going to have intelligent response questions. They're just going to be like, whoa, too much. And that's just something that happened, 60 years ago?
63.
Yeah, right? So almost 60 years ago.
57 years.
And they don't understand that it's full circle. The whole reason why that happened was because he wanted to do away with the Federal Reserve and go back to the United States Mint to make our own money. and for this country to work with debt-free money backed by gold. And he printed, and they're very rare, and they're worth a lot of money. He printed $5 bills, and I believe he stamped out $2 coins, and they say United States Mint. Not, they're different, and that is what got him to his demise.
Yeah.
It was the going up against the central bank, not because of the war of pigs, which, some people allude to. And
there's always a cover story.
My point here is we depend on red pilling people. And here again, I think Mr. Trump is a very smart man.
President Trump.
Because if he were to have won the election, and then he's going to tell people we need to reform our election process because it's full of fraud. Well, somebody might say, well, does that mean that you're an illegitimate president? Why would we need to reform our election process because you were just elected? So does that mean that you cheated, Mr. President? No, that doesn't work. That does not work. So how do you beat a system that's been in place for so long? And how do you show the people how bad it really is? You can't tell them because they're not going to believe you.
You're
to show them.
Exactly.
And what we're watching is you are watching President Trump show the American people how easily manipulated their voice can be, and how that manipulation could potentially change the outcome of their life.
Yep. Yeah. You're saying the exact same thing that Q said before. Actually, he said you can't tell the people. You have to show them. They have to see it for themselves, or else they won't believe it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's. I mean, you're exactly right.
You're looking at 90 million people in this country that believe that the most important process that our government does, had problems.
Yep.
90 million. That's a quarter of everyone that lives in this country.
And the people that are opposing that reality are telling us basically shut up and color.
Well, that's because it's in their best interest to do so.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or so they think. But here's the part that people don't understand is that when the Bushes and the JP Morgans of this world decided to overthrow the Russian government and put in our comrades, the people who orchestrated that to happen were the first ones to die because they were the only ones that knew what happened, and they were loose ends. So the people who are helping this happen are nothing but loose ends. And if they think that this is in their best interest, they're wrong, because it's not going to be in their best interest to be a loose end,
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's been proven by history.
Over and over. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's been proven over and over by history. And they either don't care about the future, they don't care about posterity, they don't care about the future of their children or their grandchildren. They care about what's happening for them at this moment in time.
And I think that's the one thing that makes me a little bit different, is because I kind of strike myself as a pretty worldly person. I don't necessarily think just in terms of my immediate surroundings or my person or my family. I think about, like, I'm a big history buff. I'm a big advocate to know what happened in Germany or Russia or Prussia, or what happened to the royal family in Russia? There's so many different things that if you don't choose to do your research on now, you're never going to hear about it because they don't teach it anymore.
Yeah, I've been into history a lot. I've done the storage unit thing for a long time, and I'd find stuff in storage units and I would research. I mean, I found. So I found. I think I've told you this story. In one of the storage unit auctions that I was at, I purchased a collection of photos, and it was like photos and postcards and letters from World War II. And this guy was he was actually a personal assistant to FDR, and he traveled around FDR. And there were original photos of Mussolini actually being shot and killed, and on the gurney, and the Italians, giving the thumbs up, like, yeah, we got him. They were in Casablanca, staging to go into Europe. There were pictures of FDR, General Patton, General Eisenhower, the president of France at the time. There were all. Did I ever tell you about that story?
No.
Oh man, yeah, I had an amazing collection. I wish I still had it. I was going through tough times financially, and I sold the whole collection on eBay for about $2,000. It's probably priceless. I had negatives.
Oh, that's museum stuff.
It went to Italy. It sold, and that whole collection went to Italy. Yeah, so I really researched that whole part of World War II, and then so that got me into so I had to be shown. Somebody couldn't just tell me, hey, you should research World War II and what happened with Mussolini and all that stuff. I found that personal collection and started researching that. And then the other thing that I've researched probably more than anybody else is the communist East German Stasi, because the programs that they put into here in the United States mimic exactly what the East German Stasi did. The organized stalking and harassment.
There's a direct correlation between some processes and procedures that were researched and perfected, really, by the Germans. And I think that what they've been able to do without 5G is amazing.
Oh.
And what they're going to be able to do with 5G is
it's a hell that nobody wants to live through. I'm going to just tell you that right now. What they perfected and what they're doing with technology. So the Stasi, what's going on right now with certain individuals is the Stasi police on steroids.
Well, technology. When Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan, and they were talking about AI. That dude, which by the way is the richest person in the world, okay, right now, he's surpassed Bezos supposedly last week. Yeah, and that dude was so freaked out by the possible dangers of AI that he smoked a whole freaking joint with freaking Joe.
He said,
if I want to talk about this, I got to be high.
he said he had that like million-mile stare, and he said, I believe it may have gone too far.
Well, he said he talked to Obama. He said that's the greatest risk this country faces is AI, and it's no longer the nuclear, weapon. It's AI, and Jade Helm. I don't know if you're familiar with that story.
On point with that, Jade. So actually, the system, the AI system that runs this entire thing that we are all nodes on, all of our mass data is collected. This interview that we're doing.
That's what's leading a lot of what's going on right now, too.
It's called Jade. The AI system is called Jade and Jade 2, and yeah, and exactly. So Jade and Jade 2. we are nodes in this AI system. They use artificial intelligence and algorithms to run more than people could even imagine. Again, unless they were personally subjected to one of these programs.
Or wet milk, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a good interview on Caravan the Midnight. So you were talking
to him last night.
Okay, yeah. So you were talking about Art Bell earlier, and I believe that that John B. Wells was on the Art Bell show. He was part of that.
Yes, he was.
Coast to Coast. He was part of that. So yeah, I've been on that show twice now. General Flynn's been interviewed on that show. Former Department of Homeland Security Officer Philip Haney, who blew the whistle on the whole DHS thing connected to the MB. Figure out who the MB is. Not Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
Okay, so
he did an open line last night. It was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was a lady. She called herself DJ for anonymity, and she explained what Jade Helm, Jade, and Jade 2 are capable of, and what the people that put it into work. Can't even speak correctly right now. Explained how they were going to use this, and I'm telling you, I've experienced it firsthand. And if they roll this out to everyone, where it's good, it needs to end. Wherever the supercomputer is that runs that whole thing, just needs to be shut down.
But at some point in time, I was told that it's so integrated. From what I understand, it's so integrated into the backbone that it's almost impossible to do that unless you want to sacrifice the whole thing. And they got trillions and trillions of dollars into this backbone. And
yeah, I don't know what the answer is. We go back to the 50s where we have just landlines, no cell phones, no computers. No
party lines?
Huh? Yeah.
Like one phone line for the whole neighborhood, and you get on the phone, it's like your neighbors talking shit. Yeah. You're like, hey, I need to make a phone call out. They're like, go away. Check back in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that. We do something needs to happen. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that it's a huge structure of complete control. And if we don't want to be China, which it's already so close to that, then something really big needs to happen, like today.
Well, my question to everyone who's out there, if Mike doesn't edit this part out, is the definition of freedom the choice on Saturday when you go get your Starbucks coffee that you're going to go to Target instead of Walmart? Is that your definition of freedom? Or when you go online on Google and you look something up and it's not there because not that it doesn't exist, it's just that they're not going to let you see it. Is that your definition of freedom? Or, I mean, what is freedom? What does it mean to be an American? I mean, what is American? I mean, I posed this one simple question to myself, and I debated within my own mind for over a month. And is it hot dogs and hamburgers? Is it baseball on Saturdays? Is it, white picket fence and, two cars in the driveway and, kids out front playing? What does it mean to be an American? Does it mean that we're the police of the world and that we got to go off to war in every country that we want to see freedom in? I mean, are we the freedom makers? Is that who we are?
Yeah, Team America, like a movie.
Who we are? We're Captain America. We're going to go save everyone. Is that what it means to be an American? What does it mean? I I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I think it's a lot of things, but it has to start with the fact that you're a person and you're not a piece of paper. You're
You're
not an entity. You're a living person that has inalienable rights and freedoms given to you by God. And that is what the beginning of you being an American is. That's the beginning of that story. You are your own king. You are the owner of your property. You have the right to privacy on that property. You don't have to pay property taxes on that property because you own it.
own it. You
You
own it.
don't have to report to the DMV with your cars because you have the right to free travel
hmm
and go anywhere you want, and you don't have to show anyone your papers. This isn't Germany. This is
It-
America.
And what they've done is they've taken all of those rights away from us, one after another, and basically sold them back to us. Okay, well, you have that right, but here you better pay this property tax. You better pay this IRS bill. You better pay this state tax bill. You better pay this bill one after another, and after another. No matter how much you own, you still pay some kind of fee for your freedom, and that's not freedom. That's because then if you lose the capacity to pay for the things that you already own and have the rights that you already have, then you're not free.
No.
And
And I have this conversation with my mom, and my mom, she's a really smart person, and her first response in the early days when we would, I mean, my mom and I, we can have these conversations like you and me. I mean, we could be on the phone for hours, right?
Yep.
And it's a blessing to me, really.
That's
But
all.
If we don't have all that, then well, what are we going to have, Chris? I mean, is this going to be just? Are you an anarchist? I mean, you don't believe in government? And I said, no, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they have certain responsibilities that I'm paying for with the agreed upon tax with being represented, whether it be with, taking care of the roads, making sure that the laws that were passed under the Constitution are being upheld by cops.
Mhm.
I think cops should know the law just like a judge. They should. And the only law that we really have in this country are sheriffs, and a lot of people don't know that.
And
Sheriff.
I agree with you for the most part, but even some of the sheriffs have been infiltrated, and that's one of the because there are a lot. So I try to explain this to people all the time. That JFK told us that they would try to take us over through infiltration, and that's a lot of what's happened. So George Soros paid millions of dollars to get the Maricopa County Sheriff Paul Penzone elected to replace Sheriff Arpaio. Arpaio was pardoned by President Trump. He's a Trump supporter. He's a constitutional supporter. So what did Soros do? He said, well, let's get rid of that guy. Let's put in one of my guys. I'm going to pay millions of dollars, and I'm going to put a Soros-backed sheriff in Maricopa County. We did the same thing in Philadelphia, where two of the places we see the election fraud and where the sheriff would not go in and enforce the laws to go in to let the what do they call them, the people to go in to monitor the election monitors. They were being, what's that?
The observers.
The observers, thank you. So the sheriff is ordered to go in and enforce that the observers would be let to watch what was going on, and the sheriffs just said no, we're not going to do that. Well, guess what? Those are sheriffs that were installed basically with dollars by George Soros, the same person that or part of the group of people that are funding Antifa and BLM.
Yeah. Well,
So-
even to add to that, the legislatures in Nevada try to be present when the elector votes for that state were being counted or given, and the legislatures were not allowed to go into the people's house that they represent to be present
Yep.
to object to the electors being given by unelected, appointed people.
Yep.
That is even worse so
Yep.
than the watchers not being able to view it.
Yep. And I just want to add too that, so a lot of people, when I start saying that George Soros paid millions of dollars to get this person elected, I'm not anti-police, because as soon as I start saying something negative about any police officer, people start thinking, oh, are you like Antifa or something? No, it's not even close to that. I'm trying to get people to understand that there are constitutional peace officers and that there are state enforcement agents. And the people that put the article out about George Soros paying millions of dollars to get Pinzone elected are cops. It's law enforcement today. They're on Twitter. They have their own publication where they put out articles. They're the ones that put the article out. Law enforcement today put out the article saying, is Maricopa County run by George Soros? And then they expounded on the information saying that he spent millions of dollars to get Pinzone elected. So those are cops. They're cops that former police officers that write these articles, that do the journalism. They're the ones that put that information out. So there's a divide within police departments and, well, with everything, police, military, government. There are people that care about our constitutional rights, and there are people that are going to take the money to sell out our country. So that's one of the things I always have to expound on, is that,
well,
I got that information from cops.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with sharing information, and if somebody's going to say that sharing information is bad, I would always just resort them back to the idea that, and I asked, my son's 5, okay, and he just started school. He's in kindergarten, right? And so he'll say something, and I'm like, well, wow, well, where'd you hear that? He said, oh, well, my teacher told me. I go, oh, okay. So does your teacher write all the time? And he goes, yeah. And I go, no, she's not. Your teacher's not right all the time. She's a human being just like we are. She's wrong sometimes too. You cannot believe everything you hear. You have to verify. And he's 5, but I'm already teaching him the lessons that you need to know, because you have, what is it? Trust but verify. So if you and I are talking and you say something, if I say, you know what, that's an interesting concept, let me go do some research on that. And if I confirm what you say, then you know what? Good for you for sharing the knowledge with me. But I'm not going to debunk you because of my ignorance.
Yeah.
And think
or if I'm wrong because I got misinformation and I believed something that was false because I didn't have the capacity to process it on myself, and you do the research, and then you come back to me and say, hey, I think what you told me might be wrong. Check this out. Check this source out. Check out this information. Here's extra information that you can process. Rethink that whole situation. If I'm not an indoctrinated,
right,
brainwashed person, then I'm going to go, oh, hey, you know what? I'm going to look into that. And then thank you for helping me update my perception of reality.
Well, guess what?
What's up?
We have Google that now.
Your video.
we have Google. We have big tech. We have big tech for us now, Mike. They'll say, "Oh, fact checkers determined that this is not true."
Yeah.
Well, who in the hell is Google to tell me what is and what isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, who the fuck made them the gods and princesses of information?
Yeah.
I mean, they're a platform. I get it, but I mean, when you can change the definition of WikiLeaks because somebody just goes in there and fucking types that shit out, that's not fact. That's opinion,
Yep.
you know? And I'm open to opinions. I'm open to facts. And I maybe sometimes I'm open to bullshit too, but I mean, everyone's human and you I would prefer to at least have attempted to get it right than to have never attempted at all. And I don't know. I don't know what makes me special. I don't know what makes you special. I don't know. I don't know why we can sit here and have a conversation and talk about absolutely nothing normal.
Well, this
The
is
things we're talking about right now would not be something that I don't know if we'd be sitting at the bar talking about this if we were two single guys on a Saturday night. We'd probably be talking about what the waitress's rear end looked like or something. But it just goes to show how much information that we're getting.
Yeah. Well, we're at a point where we have to discuss stuff like that. So, I'll tell you what, though, we are at 2 hours and 47 minutes. So I think, yeah, we've been talking for a while. Like we always do. This is every single time we talk. This is how long we talk. So this is just one of our normal conversations.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably, as far as this podcast goes, or this video interview talk, whatever the hell you want to call it, we should probably call it. And I might even make this into like 2 parts just so people will watch it. A lot of times if they see something, then they go, 3 hours? I don't have 3 hours. So maybe I'll put this into like a 2-part thing. Mike and Chris's conversation about not normal things, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah. Good luck trying to title this one.
Yeah. It's always a challenge. So, but and I'm not just going to hang up on you after this. I'll end the broadcast. We can still talk a little bit, but man, I really appreciate that you took the time to do it, or not. I mean, you always take the time to talk to me. That's been an ongoing thing. We've been doing this for a long time, and I appreciate you sticking by my side, man, and not vacating our friendship like so many of my other friends have. We've been friends for a long time, and it really means a lot because a lot of people are so fickle, and you say one thing and they vacate from your life like you've experienced too. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that, and how much I appreciate you having the balls, having the courage to get on here and talk with me and introduce yourself to the world and say, hey, I'm Chris. Here's what I have to say. And I'm going to put that out in the universe now. And I think it's important. I think, everything happens for a reason. And there's a reason why you ended up here on my talk show, whatever the hell you want to call it, my video talk with me.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that will want to hear what you're saying and will appreciate the information that you've given them. So this shouldn't be our last talk. We should do this again for sure. Instead of just talking on the phone whenever you want to call and go, hold on, let's turn the video camera on. As long as we're going to be doing this, let's share it with the rest of everybody else. Maybe they can learn something.
Well, it's kind of more interactive to do a video chat anyway, because it's been a long time since we've actually got to hang out in person.
Yeah,
been a couple of decades. I appreciate you giving me the platform. I personally have debated whether or not I was going to make myself available like this on social media. For a long time, I've been talking about, I have a YouTube channel It's not about this subject matter. It's
Yeah.
about cars
Working
and
on
doing car repair stuff, and that's my main content on my YouTube channel. Because I do a lot of that. I don't post a lot. I mean, I just got my first GoPro as of like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I was really excited to do this, and I think that maybe in the fourth quarter, with 2 minutes left in the game, with a football in play, there's no risk to me. There's only reward at this point for getting on here and telling people how important it is to understand that there's the reset and there's the coup. And it goes opposite of that order, but there's a football in play, and there's one reason why our government trustees and the Congress and Senate want to impeach our president, and that is because he is the one in control of the football.
Yep.
And we got to make a touchdown.
Yep.
And please, visit website nationsinaction.org. Look at the documents. Understand that these are coming from high officials in the judicial system of the Italian government, and the person that's heading up this effort for our president is actively spending her own money to try to bring these individuals into the red zone, and so our president can score that touchdown that he so desperately needs, and we need him to do that for us.
Yep.
So I just want to suggest that and pray that something like that is possible, and that it can happen, and that God wants people to do the right thing, and our president wants people to do the right thing. And if you stop and think about what he has done, is he has given every person involved the opportunity to do the right thing.
The right thing.
Hey,
yep.
We got an issue coming up here with mail-in votes. It's an opportunity for fraud. It was ignored. Hey, I saw what happened. Everyone looked the other way. Those are called choices. And everyone on that field of play right now, Donald Trump gave every single person the gentleman's best opportunity to do the right thing.
Yep.
And he even gave them the last opportunity on the 6th to do the right thing. He has given every single one of them the benefit of the doubt, because just like I and you and so many of us want to see people do the right thing, he's given them the opportunity. Unfortunately, those choices have been made, and there's consequences to those choices.
Yep. Yep.
All I ask is that we pray for God's actions to be taken, for protection for our president, protection for you, Mike, your girlfriend, and God bless us all. God bless America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, man. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll call this the end of the interview right now. And just want to thank everybody again for being here. If you're still here listening, part 2, hour 3, for hanging in there with us and listening to this information. You can visit my website at barden.us. It's been on the screen right here, right below me, for 3 hours now. So that's my website with all my social media. If you want to support me continuing to do journalism and having a roof over my head, my PayPal address is on the website. The link is on the website there. And yeah, that's it. That's it. So thank you again, Chris. Thank you, everybody that's been watching and paying attention, listening. Take this information that we've given you, that we've shared with you, and start doing some of your own research. And like Chris said, pray that this all comes out in everyone's favor, for humanity in general. So, all right, thanks, Chris, and we'll do this again. All right.
You bet.
All right.